Welcome, everyone, to our 50th anniversary special. I'm Tom McClanahan.
And I'm Dana Winkelfleck. Thank you so much for helping us celebrate our golden anniversary.
Well, there's no doubt that things have changed over the past 50 years. I know I certainly have.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit there, Tom, right? And for our guests, we thought we would take a moment to share some of our favorite memories, stories that certainly impacted our lives, and perhaps some of yours as well.
You know, obviously, there are many moments we could reflect upon, and there are many people we could focus on, too.
We're going to start, though, by going back 50 years to when it all began. The year 1965. You know, the first baby boomers were graduating from high school. Mini skirts, you probably like this. They made their appearance.
I do recall that.
And the Gateway Arch was completed in St. Louis. But in a field just south of Terre Haute, there was another monumental building project getting underway. Old footage shows the start of the WTWO broadcast studios. While it includes some clowning around, there was a lot of serious business taking place. In just a couple of months, construction would go from a few cinder blocks to a 1,000-foot tower to frantically filling the building with equipment, all to make it on the air by September 1st.
We worked 7 days a week, 12-hour days until September 1st.
Gerald Probst, or Bubba as he's known, is among the station's first employees. He's the one who pushed the buttons and put WTWO on the air for the first time.
I don't remember being nervous. I was excited.
Bruce Wesley also has fond memories of those early years. His dad was here on September 1st, 1965. Bruce would later come to the station and help him.
I was 14 years old, sitting at the master control switcher, punching up brakes.
Bruce is now a station engineer as well, our only second-generation employee. Several people have come and gone. Many of them stayed a while, others a little bit. And just as employees have changed over time, so has technology. Photographers shot the first news footage on a camera like this and then processed the film in what is now an office. That camera was eventually traded in for about 60 pounds worth of video equipment and these 3/4-inch tapes. Now it's all computerized, the equipment so much lighter and smaller, and the news can be captured on these little SD cards. But what remains are the stories we've covered by the people who've worked here.
It's really people that make this business great, and over the 50 years, WTWO's had a lot of great people come through this building.
Yeah, a lot of years, Tom. And actually, you win the prize for having stood the test of time. You started your career, what, here at WTWO 43 years ago?
Well, actually, Dana, it was 44 years this past August. I've worked under 12 general managers and hundreds of people, some very talented, a few forgettable, but all part of the family here. I've also been charged with remembering news that we've covered all these decades gone by, and yes, probably because I have been around here the longest. So many stories made my list, but I had to narrow it to the top 3. 2 unforgettable crimes and 1 positive story of a lifetime for us here in the Wabash Valley. The Valley was shocked on Valentine's Day in 1977 when the Hollinsburg killings took place in Park County. 4 men, led by Roger Drollinger, stopped at a residence near Hollinsburg, ordered 5 people to lie on the floor, and shot each one of them. Betty Spencer, whose wig was dislodged by the shotgun blast and made the killers believe she had died, survived and lay still listening to the deaths of her son and 3 stepsons. But her testimony would later convict Drollinger and 3 others. Betty died in 2004 at the age of 71. Drollinger died in prison where the 3 remaining killers reside. In the 90s, a young nurse at the Vermilion County, Indiana Hospital in Clinton made news all over when he was convicted of killing 6 patients in his care. Orville Lynn Majors was actually accused of killing at least 75 people there. After a 2-year investigation, then testimony in a 2-month trial by physicians, co-workers, and families of the victims, a jury delivered the news.
I remember the first count being guilty, and I remember the second count being guilty.
Majors was sentenced to 360 years in prison, where he still resides. And on a lighter note, and one of worldwide acclaim, sainthood, the first for anyone in Indiana, was given to Mother Theodore Guerin, the founder of St. Mary of the Woods College. The Vatican made the decision to honor Mother Theodore in 1998, and she was canonized in the fall of 2006. A contingent from here made its way to Rome for the sacred ceremony. She had arrived in Vigo County in 1840 and created the school for girls. A shrine to Mother Theodore was opened to the public just last fall for the saintly woman who inspires people yet today with her faith, love, and courage. Well, there are so many other stories that we left out here, and I can tell you that one of them was a weather event for a generation. Here's Jess.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. I'm proud to say I'm close to celebrating 30 years with NBC2. This December marks my 30th anniversary since my on-air career began here. In my time here, there have been many memorable weather stories that have impacted lives, but probably one of the most impactful weather events happened not while I was working here, but while I was living in the Wabash Valley growing up and watching WTWO. Number one was an event that kept the main news team at the station for 3 days and had a major impact on the valley. It was the blizzard of '78. It started on the afternoon of Wednesday, January 25th, and peaked early on Thursday, January 26th, with 55-mile-per-hour winds and wind chills to 50 below zero. It wrapped up on the morning of Friday, January 27th. It was one of the worst blizzards to ever hit anywhere in the U.S., and it left us with over a foot of snow and drifts 20 feet deep. Number two happened on Saturday, June 2nd, 1990. We saw a warm and peaceful day turn tragic. A strong cold front moved in and storms started to develop by early afternoon in Illinois. Almost every storm that day produced a tornado. By the end of the day, Indiana had seen 37 tornadoes, a record still to this day, and many of those were in our viewing area. Places like Dana, Worthington, and Lagodi had twisters. The northwest side of Newton, Illinois was hit by an F4 tornado, but worst hit was just south of our viewing area in Petersburg, Indiana. Several people lost their lives there as 2 tornadoes hit around sunset, and one was an F4. Number three was the flood of '08. It started with severe storms on the evening of Friday, June 6th, and continued all night into the morning of Saturday, June 7th. By that morning, we had seen between 8 inches and 1 foot of rain. Combine that with about 5 inches that fell earlier in the week, and you had a tremendous amount of water with nowhere to go. Roads were washed out, homes were flooded, and it happened during the night, making it even worse. The good news is no one was killed and no one was seriously injured. That was what we call a 100-year flood, meaning things like that should only happen about once every 100 years. So we hope we don't see anything like that again for a long time. An event that did not hurt anyone or do any damage, but it sure did get lots of attention, happened in February of 2003. When we woke up that morning, there were some really odd-looking objects lying all over the place. They were called snow rollers and were caused by a combination of just right weather conditions, including snow and wind at the right time. Some were as large as trash cans and some as small as a golf ball. We truly think this was a once-in-a-lifetime event, as something like this could not be found in local history going back 100 years. And those are some of the top weather events during the past 50 years here in the Wabash Valley.
Thanks, Jess, and I wanted to tell you that I was sports director for a short time in my tenure here, but I can't hold a candle to this man, our current sports director, Jason Pinsky.
You're a very kind man, Tom, and a very good friend. And for me, a career in sports is what I always wanted, and WTWO has delivered on so many levels. We had the chance in the mid-'90s to start the Wabash Valley's very first Friday night high school sports show. We've been doing ISU play-by-play since the late '90s. That, too, has been a thrill, but we picked out 3 special sports memories, and can you ever go wrong talking college basketball, high school basketball, and Peyton Manning?
The number 3 sports story is the 2002 Terre Haute South Lady Braves, a team that changed the course of athletic history in the city of Terre Haute. The Lady Braves would win the city's first basketball state championship, completing a 25-2 season with a convincing 63-42 win over South Bend Riley at Conseco Fieldhouse. The Braves would have only one postseason game decided by fewer than 11 points on the way to winning the championship. Prior to that season, Terre Haute remained the biggest city in Indiana to never have won a basketball state title. The number 2 sports story is the training camp move to Rose-Hulman by the Indianapolis Colts. It would prove to be a magical training ground for a Colts team that would enjoy their most successful stretch in franchise history during their time at Rose-Hulman, a stretch that included 1 Super Bowl win, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 4 12-win seasons, 2 13-win seasons, and 2 14-win seasons as well. And maybe just as important as the numbers, during that time, football became arguably the #1 passion for sports fans in Indiana, as recognized recently by former Colts center Jeff Saturday.
This place has made a significant change since I started in '99 from a racing basketball to an incredible football town, and one that everybody would be honored to play for.
And not surprisingly, the #1 sports story, without question, involves the guy who's recognized with a mammoth statue outside Holman Center. Larry Bird and the 1979 Indiana State Sycamores, delivering the season of a lifetime with an undefeated regular season, a #1 national ranking, and a national runner-up finish in the NCAA tournament. The title game loss to Magic Johnson and the Michigan State Spartans remains the most watched college basketball game of all time.
Terre Haute's always been good to me, and this was the right fit. I knew it when I got here. I liked the campus, I liked the school.
Every year brings new stories, new events, and new technology. One thing that doesn't change, though, is our commitment to the Wabash Valley.
Yeah, you bet. We are faced also, though, with the task every year to remind ourselves and those in the broadcast industry the highlights of the year gone by.
So here's a look back at the last year as we prepare for a brand new year.
This is WTWO Television, Terre Haute.
September 1st, 1965. It's been 50 years since WTWO signed on the air. There have been a lot of changes throughout the years. Anchors.
Good evening, I'm Lauren Collier.
And I'm Johnny Palmer.
Reporters.
We'll give parents a list of things that the kids...
And especially technology. But one thing that remains the same is our commitment to you. Local news.
Police say the last guest left just after 1:15 Sunday morning. Moments later, Kelly Sampson called for help.
What's the address?
4205 North Creel.
When they arrived at the scene, deputies found Kelly dead.
Crews from Linton, Carlisle, and Union-Duggar battle a structure fire near Pleasantville.
We begin tonight with breaking news. Law enforcement are investigating a deadly accident involving an Amish buggy carrying a family of 5.
Topping our news tonight, a massive blaze devastates the city's downtown area.
At this hour, officials are searching for an inmate who escaped from the federal prison in Terre Haute.
Police say the 2 10-inch pipe bombs had a destruction radius of up to 50 yards.
A massive fire inside a warehouse erupted on the north side of Terre Haute late last night.
Holy, there it is.
An EF2 tornado touched down in Washington, Indiana.
Had we stayed closer to those windows for a few more seconds, I think we would have been hit with flying debris.
Tiffany Adams was last seen November 4th. Since then, her mother and stepfather have been looking for answers.
You know, I mean, she's my baby girl. She's my only daughter.
Tiffany Adams was due to have her first child in early January. Now, the death of this expectant mother is being investigated as a homicide.
In August of 2013, Josiah and his family learned he had a brain tumor located on his brainstem.
Josiah is just kind of there for everyone, and he's just always trying to make everybody else smile or everybody else be happy when sometimes you can't tell if he is.
Hundreds gathered on the Riverton Park softball field where Emily once played, remembering a life taken too soon.
You really don't realize how close and how much love and support you get until something tragic like this happens. But she touched a lot of lives.
From the stories that impact lives to events that bring communities together, we're there.
NBC2 is once again proud to be a part of Race for the Cure, which benefits the Susan G. Komen Foundation.
The Vigo County Education Foundation honored 34 educators at the annual Excellence in Education Banquet. Our own Julie Hendricks from Good Day Live emceed that event.
Well, today our station honored some of the Valley's brightest high school seniors. It was our 25th annual Top of the Class Luncheon for high school valedictorians.
Thursday marks the 13th anniversary of 9/11, and since that day, all of us here at NBC2 have been proud sponsors of the blood drive.
NBC2 is once again teaming up with the Terre Haute Humane Society for the 9th annual Tail-a-thon.
And the grand total is... Wow! $10,522.
Our own Dana Winkleplex, folks, she was a shining star tonight. We knew that, but the world now knows.
Look at that.
Dana was one of many local celebrities taking part in this year's Dancing with the Terre Haute Stars.
4
fourth time voted the Wabash Valley's best TV personality. There's nobody more deserving than you.
For 30 years, communities across the Wabash Valley have trusted Chief Meteorologist Jesse Walker to bring them the most accurate weather forecast.
This is moving over through Sullivan County now with storms starting to move into those areas.
It's time for my winter outlook once again. A lot of time and research went into this.
The lovers are rejoicing, but we have to remember that the roads are going to be slick.
Do watch for slippery travel on those secondary roads.
Well, he said check out that 25 degrees on Wednesday. I did not. I didn't feel the need to look ahead to Wednesday, not when we have all this basketball.
Good evening and welcome to the Brickyard. Welcome back to Lucas Oil Stadium.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to the greatest spectacle in racing. I'm Grant Pugh reporting.
Another scorcher of a Saturday.
The Indiana State Sycamores, as you can see behind me, are now dancing in the NCAA tournament after an incredible weekend. The Sycamores are now coming home Valley champions.
From the biggest moments in sports to the brightest stars in entertainment.
The Swan brothers are with me, Zach.
He joins us now with complete coverage on the presidential visit. Kyle?
Celebrating 50 years of broadcast excellence. WTWO.
Thanks to all of you for joining us tonight.
For the former employees, thanks for the time you spent during the past 50 years working to keep WTWO on the air, in the community, and a part of so many lives.
Yeah, so much work. For the advertisers and friends, thank you for your support. Because without you, none of us would be able to do what we do and what we love. It's because of your support that we're able to share news and information, and more importantly, those stories that affect us all.
We certainly look forward to the years ahead and the new technology in this ever-changing business that will allow us to grow and gain even more viewers in the future. Here's to 50 more.